"Get out of my house, you witch!" The sound of crashing plates exploded through the small living room as Martha flung Faith's dinner onto the floor. Rice and stew splattered everywhere like red paint. "This is my son's house, not yours. You hear me? Mine." Faith stood frozen, her hands shaking, tears streaming down her face. Her white blouse was stained with food. This was the 5th time this week her mother-in-law had destroyed her meal. But what Martha didn't know was that after 6 long months of suffering, something inside Faith had finally snapped. "Mama Martha," Faith said softly, too softly. "You've gone too far this time." Martha laughed loudly, a cruel laugh that made neighbors peek through their windows. "Too far? What will you do about it? Go back to where you came from." Faith slowly removed her earrings, tied her wrapper tightly around her waist, and said 5 words that changed everything. "Today, you will respect me." 6 months earlier, Faith met Samuel at a busy marketplace. He was visiting the city for business, and when their eyes met, time seemed to pause. Samuel was tall, confident, and warm. Faith was gentle, beautiful, and kind-hearted. They talked for hours. Then days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. One evening, Samuel said, "Marry me. Come live with me." Faith said yes without hesitation. What Samuel didn't tell her was that his mother, Martha, was deeply possessive. When Samuel shared the news, Martha exploded. "What about Tina? The girl I planned for you? The one everyone expected you to marry?" "Mama, I love Faith. Tina is just a friend." "I already told everyone you would marry Tina." Samuel heard fear in his mother's voice, the fear of losing her only son. On their wedding day, Martha wore black and whispered insults to anyone who would listen. "That girl isn't good enough for my son." Faith heard everything but smiled, hoping kindness would change things. She was wrong. The morning after the wedding, Martha burst into their house at dawn. She had a key. She inspected the kitchen, criticized the food, and accused Faith of trying to poison her. Samuel defended his wife, but guilt softened his words. Faith stayed silent, remembering her grandmother's advice, respect elders. From that day on, Martha made Faith's life miserable. Monday, insults about cleanliness. Tuesday, complaints about food. Wednesday, gossip sessions with friends who mocked Faith openly. Thursday, Martha demanded half of Samuel's salary, claiming illness. Samuel gave it to her, torn by guilt. Faith tried everything, cooking favorite meals, buying gifts, cleaning Martha's house. Nothing worked. The problem wasn't food or money. It was fear of being replaced. Martha called a family meeting and accused Faith of controlling Samuel. Samuel finally stood up. "I chose my wife because I love her, not because of tricks. Love fades," Martha snapped. "But a mother is forever." Samuel broke down, crying. "Why are you making me choose?" At a family celebration weeks later, Martha publicly insulted Faith and then slapped her. The room went silent. Samuel's anger exploded. "You humiliated my wife. You humiliated me." That night, Faith told Samuel she couldn't live like this anymore. 3 days later, Martha came again. Faith was cooking dinner. Martha tasted the food, insulted it, then dumped the entire pot onto the floor. "Stop trying to replace me," she screamed. That was the breaking point. Faith looked at the mess, 6 months of pain scattered on the floor. She removed her earrings. She tied her wrapper. She faced Martha calmly. Enough. What happened next became neighborhood legend. Faith didn't fight wildly. She fought firmly. Each move carried 6 months of bottled pain. Neighbors gathered. Some cheered. Samuel ran outside, shocked. Faith stood over Martha and spoke clearly. "I am your son's wife. I am not leaving. Respect me or stay away." After that day, everything changed. Martha knocked before visiting. She spoke respectfully. 2 weeks later, she came with food and tears. "I was afraid," she admitted. "I thought I was losing my son." Faith listened quietly. "I forgive you," Faith said, "but things must change." Martha agreed. At the next family gathering, she publicly apologized. "Faith is my daughter." Samuel finally breathed freely. Today, Faith and Martha cooked together, laughed together, and healed together. Faith learned that kindness without boundaries invites abuse. Samuel learned that love requires protection. Martha learned that love multiplies, it doesn't divide. The neighbors still talk about the day Faith stood up for herself. And they say, "Be kind, be patient, but never let anyone make you small." Fear often hides behind cruelty.